kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying?
This is my first time seeing this video, and so you're getting a really raw reaction. I mean, I literally just uploaded a video to YouTube. I was doing a reaction, and I was just listening to letting it feed through the shorts, and then this came up. This situation, and I don't want anybody to think that any anger I have is for profit muscle. I really feel for the brother in this video, because I'm pretty sure he didn't mean for this to happen. My thing is, when people criticize traditional martial arts and try to act like we being soft or we not being real when we practice control and we pull our techniques, especially in class, because what happens, this is not a risk that training is worth. Just training, just practicing, just doing this to enrich your life. You're not a professional fighter. You know you ain't ever going to be a professional fighter. It's not worth this type of risk because this could happen. Schoolyard, stupid ego fights because you diss me, I diss you. This type of thing can happen there. But when you go in the ring and you go to be a pro fighter, this is the type of risk that you take. Now, am I saying I got to say all this just to get this out the way? Okay, for the people on the internet who are thick and just want to go ahead and just be super aggressive, not have any control, any holdback all the time in their training. When they just training or just competing, any no money competitions, you're just competing for free. You're competing just for the love of the sport. This is why they have safeguards in traditional martial arts, and this is why even when you get into the UFC or you get into full contact taekwondo matches, international level judo, national level judo matches, boxing, the list goes on. This is why we have rules, because this stuff has a risk to it. Things can happen. Things can happen. And it's not worth damaging yourself, especially if you are a hobbyist. Practice with some control. Nobody's trying to hold anything back from you or try to make you less prepared for the streets. How you gonna be prepared for the streets to defend yourself in the streets if you can't move, man? Anyway, let's take a look at what I'm talking about.
Pritchard clone. This man ain't have no kids. But they don't understand, man. Y'all.
They don't understand. I don't even know the people involved in this video. That's how I feel. I feel like him.
Don't fucking understand what we go through, man. And I don't even know him like that. But I always be an advocate for us because this man would never know what it feel like to be somebody's father. And that's some of the precious thing in the world, to be somebody's father.
Yes, it is. I can tell you as a daddy myself.
But he'll never be nobody's father, man. Because he got in the ring to support his family. But now his family got to take care of him for the rest of his life. I can say so much about it. This is serious. We don't know if Robert going to be the same after this. I just did a job. I'm great at what I do. I don't mean to take people away from their lifestyle of living. I'm just trying to support my family as well. Pritchard clone.
And that's why, you got some people that have made this argument. And I used to make this argument myself. So I'm guilty too of this. They would say, like, why don't we pay teachers like we pay, pro athletes? Why don't we pay teachers like we pay pro athletes? Because, we're influencing the minds of the young, and, teachers. I'm not a traditional school teacher, but people will say, like, we should pay teachers and things like that type of money because they're working with the youth and they have more of an impact on people's lives than you would think a professional athlete would. And I understand that argument, and I understood that argument. But there is a thing called risk that you should be compensated for. And this is the thing, the risk that they are taking when they get in the ring for our entertainment, They are literally risking their lives, whether we realize it or not. When you're doing any type of contact sport, and especially any type of combat sports, you are risking your life. That even happens at the local level. Now, I'm telling you right now, I don't know either one of these two gentlemen that are talked about in this video. I'm just going to make the assumption that it's probably highly unlikely that the guy that made Cecil Ryu Taekwondo can actually go toe to toe with these guys. So I shouldn't try to slug it out with them. So that means when you're in class and you're practicing, you shouldn't be trying to slug it out hard, going super hardcore all the time. If you want to go full contact, sometimes under supervision to experience that, yes. But deliberately punishing yourself outside of supervised iron body training, no. And I think you know what I'm talking about. Internet. And when I use the term internet like that with anger, I'm talking about these trolls that just want to basically, in my opinion, justify their own sadism. Don't let them lead you astray. Don't let them fool you. Just because people are wearing traditional pajamas when they're doing stuff, and it looks like, oh, they just do those dance moves and they don't really fight hard. And, you know, oh, especially the ones that try to say that grappling is better because we can go full contact. You miss me with that. Because I have a black belt in a grappling system. And you're not allowed to punch and kick in that system. Because you're already going full contact with the throws and the pins and the chokes and the joint locks. We're just going to let you bust each other in the face too. Then it's all out free for all. On the other side of the house, if they're allowing you to hit each other hard in those type of contact sports, and I've told people this before, I did an amateur boxing match when I was in the Marines. I don't claim boxing coaching certifications. I do know a little bit about boxing because I did a amateur boxing match, and I don't hand out boxing rank, but with the little bit I learned, I roll into everything else I teach. So that's why my students know how to slip, even though I call it blade of grass. Anyway, when I took boxing and we could hit each other, we didn't unload on each other in practice like we did when we had our match, because that would be ridiculous. We could get hurt or killed. And even in a boxing ring, there's a limited amount of techniques that you can do. And while I have not stepped into the cage, I have talked to people who have stepped in the cage. I looked at the rules, and even they have a limited rule set. If nothing else, it's not 2-on-1 in 99% of cage matches. And they don't let you bring a blade in there or a razor or a gun. Do they? And remember, in the cage, there are weight classes. When you start involving full contact, there are weight classes. Olympic Taekwondo has weight classes. They're there for a reason. It's because this stuff can be dangerous. And you could get seriously hurt, and it can be life-altering, life-shattering changes. And despite all that danger, I still recommend the martial arts as a hobby, because if you use some common sense, there are a ton of good things you can get out the martial arts. A ton. Be a great form of exercise. Be a great way for you to learn how to manage your nerves, and learning how to do stuff under control is a great way for you to learn how to eventually control your temper and eventually control yourself and de-escalate situations, because you will find after a while out in the real world, if you already know you know how to fight, you don't need to go there. You don't need to prove what you need to prove. You know how to fight. People tend to leave you alone too that want to start stuff if they know that you know how to fight. So that's all I got to say about this one. This one really got to me. It really did, because it caught me out of nowhere, but it brought up a very serious issue that I think needs to be emphasized on the internet for people who think that we should just that if you're not in Fight Club, what you're doing is worthless. I guess you could say if there's anybody that irks me, it's people like that. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. We share with people like to talk about the martial arts. I have no ill will towards Prophet Muscle at all. So don't think, oh, he dissing him, he mad at. Don't start that type of stuff, internet. I think you know what I'm talking about. Peace, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.